Hello everyone, Nox here, and today is another video. I'm going to be talking about leaders and leadership. It's just a topic that came to mind, and I was thinking why not just start making videos based off a topic. The drawing is a leader from a series. It was suggested to me by one of my friends. It's a character from a show called Danganronpa. It's a game as well, and it's in the manga art style, so some of you guys might like that. I don't know, I can't talk for everyone. And after I talk about what I'm gonna say, I have a whole script here. But after I talk about that, I'm gonna talk about the drawing itself. So let's get into the script. So what is a leader? What do you look for in a leader? These are questions for today, and I want your input and your insight. I want you guys to tell me what you want in a leader in the comments, and I want to see what other people think about what they want in a leader. But to me, a leader or a good leader is probably the person with the most experience and the most passion within a group for whatever they're following. The video was inspired by the presentation. It was like a leadership group, and I think it was like a charity group where they do work for people, and it made me think about leadership and what I wanted from a leader. They asked a lot of questions, like what traits a leader should have. Does a leader work with followers, or does a leader tell them what to do? Is a good leader a listener, a speaker, and are they extroverted or introverted? I'm going to use these questions to help build this video, and quick disclaimer, I'm not telling you what you should, like what a leader should have. I'm just feeding my ideas and sparking your thoughts of leadership and what you want in a leader. This video is mostly opinionated, and not everyone wants the same thing in a leader. Now to start, a couple traits you could and probably should look for in a leader is a leader who is affable, as in someone who is easy to talk to. You want them to be empathetic, prideful, insightful. And you would want a leader who can talk to you, who will listen to you, who cares, who won't put themselves down, and has insight or experience in what they lead. A strong leader also should have the ability to adapt to everyone's problems, strengths, and weaknesses while staying stern and not being a pushover. The leader should be both a good listener and a speaker, though if you had to choose one, it would be really hard. But after some thoughts, for me, I would lead towards a listener, because a listener can know all the needs, all the personalities of the group, know everything that they have to do. And if they can't speak, maybe they could get someone to speak for them, though that's not very reliable. That's why they also have to be a good speaker. Speaking is really important. To be able to call everyone together, pull out certain members to speak to them, and give out commands on your own is very important. You'd want a leader that works with the followers. I found a quote by E.M. Kelly that helped enforce this. And quote, "Remember the difference between a boss and a leader. A boss says go, and a leader says let's go." End quote. If you don't understand, this means that the leader should work with the team as the boss commands a team. So those are the things that you can consider while you're trying to be a leader, or wondering if a leader is good to stay or to be a leader in general. But you could sum it up in a couple terms, as in empathy, passion, affability, and flexibility. So yeah, that was it for the script. Now I can probably just talk about this drawing on its own. It was suggested by a friend named Abby. I'll put them in the description below. They like Kokichi or Oma, and he's a pretty great character. He's a very I don't know how to say it, but yes, he is the ultimate supreme leader in the game. I mean, it doesn't really show much. He's in a organization called Dice and all that, he doesn't usually look like as I drew him. That's like that's how he looks like as a leader, so I had to draw him like that. I totally messed up the hat. I really didn't know what to do with the hat, but I think it looks fine in the drawing. This drawing took about well, in all, working on this video, just doing a drawing took about 5 hours, 6 hours at most, because I had 3 other drawings in mind. So I also drew like a couple warriors with one guy in the middle as like the main, but that would have taken an extremely long time because I would have to find different references, and at one point I messed up where they were facing and the poses, and I kept getting the anatomy wrong, so I decided to put that aside and maybe finish it later. I could probably pull that up for you guys right here. And with the face of this drawing, I didn't know what to do either. Didn't know how to draw the mouth, so I left it like that for a while. I kept clicking on the wrong layers, which messed up a lot, but that's probably costed a lot of time to fix, because a lot of the time when I'm trying to edit something, I find out that like if I try to color it, I found out that I either colored on like the lining layer and I tried to like add a highlight and it would mess it up, and that made it extremely hard because I had a lot of layers to work with, and I was trying to kind of rush through this, but at the same time I was trying to just enjoy the drawing. It was fun. I think this is probably my best drawing so far, actually. Oh, the shading was a huge pain because I usually use Krita, and with Krita I would use the airbrush, and I didn't know where that was, but it's, as you can see, it's right under the paintbrush. And when I got the airbrush, the version of it I was using, like as you can see, on the top left, you can see me scrolling through like opaque watercolors, different watercolors. There were different kinds of paintbrushes, and I kept choosing the wrong paintbrush, airbrush, and it kept messing me up because I didn't know which airbrush I was supposed to use. I was trying to use paint to do the shading, but it was too dark for what it was. It was just white, but I needed to do the shading, and it was too the colors I kept using were too dark. I don't know how to shade white. I don't know if you can even see that the arm is on the other side. Like as I was drawing it and as I was finishing up, I kept looking at the arm because I thought the coloring would just fix it up, but I don't think it did very much. I experimented a lot with this. I started trying to use more wrinkles. I tried to shade more clothing. At the end, I finished those buttons up. I got I got lazy with those buttons, and that kind of messed up something. But I mean, next time I draw, I'm gonna try to think less about finishing it and more about making it look good. That arm on the other side, I was trying to shade it well, but that was also kind of hard. But I figured out that I could just shade one side and the other side, and then leave the middle part with a highlight. There's that was the first time I worked with like metallic kind of colors. Is this little button on where that connects is like cape thing, and that was the first time I worked with with kind of a metallic thing, and I had no clue. I just went with my instinct, added a highlight. I added a highlight. I made it gray, and that's all I really knew how to do with that button thing on his shoulder. Here is where I find the airbrush. I was using the shadow one, and I thought I could change the color of the shadow thing, and that didn't really work out. So I stopped using shadow airbrush and I started using the other shadow and the other airbrushes. This is me cleaning up the drawing. I had to clean up a lot. I need to learn how to color it without messing it up. Here's when I figure it out. It's also the first time I used highlights. Like, this is the first time I actually tried out some highlighting. And it looked okay. It looked pretty decent, I suppose. People I talked to about this drawing, they said it was okay. So, I think it was most likely fine. I messed up the skin tone a lot. I'll go into that when we're doing this because I don't know how to get skin tone because the skin tone for Oma or Kokichi is basically white and it messed me up a lot because it looked weird. Here's where I added the wrinkles. It's my first time working with these kind of wrinkles on digital, at least. I use very detailed methods in traditional drawing a whole lot more. Let's see, those buttons, they stay like that. I was trying to make them look more three-dimensional, but after a while I realized it's already been 2.5 hours of drawing, and with every time I tried to make them look three-dimensional it kind of messed up, and so I just left it. The hat, there's a golden rim on that hat, and since I drew the hat itself wrong, it was making it kind of hard to design and color the hat and to put the correct lining and all that. So a lot of the lining on the hat I would have to erase and redo. Yeah, there's my reference. I think I shouldn't have went with that reference because it was kind of messing me up. This is the skin tone that messed me up as well because no, not this skin tone. There was a skin tone that I used and it was gray, and I didn't realize that it was gray until I was actually finished with the skin tone. Oh, here's a thing I have with the paint where when I'm trying to color in with the paint, it grabs the color from the other, like if I was coloring the hair with the paint tool, it could actually pull some of the skin tone color into the hair and kind of mess something up there. Here's me adding shading to the hair. How many of you guys watch or play Danganronpa? It's a good show. I've watched the gameplay and I've watched the first actual show, the anime. I haven't watched the second one all the way. I've only watched a couple episodes because I don't have anywhere to actually watch it on, and if you watch free on Crunchyroll, it's there's ads every like 5 minutes or so, so you get a crap ton of ads. There's the golden rim. I had trouble with that because I couldn't find a single reference of that hat with the view that I'm using here, so I just did my best. I had to delete that skeleton thing. I decided not to help like start. I decided not to add detail to those little symbols because it would have made it look really it would have made it look odd because the eyes are hard to work on. I think after about maybe after the 2 hour mark I realized I could have zoomed in and done detailing like that. I mean, I don't usually touch digital, so it just crossed my mind. There I accidentally colored on the lining again. I would say Kokichi is probably one of my favorite characters from the show. He has a great personality, and it's hard to hate him, despite the character that he is, and he ends up being pretty cool. should mention that I might have some spoilers of the show here, but I highly doubt that I'm gonna spoil anything. Just talking, commentating over this. Here's where I start adding the shading. This is where the shading is all messed up because it's more gray than skin tone. Then I try to add like red to help with the drawing, but it looked weird. That was probably because of the white skin tone, white and gray skin tone. That also messed me up using that reference, because if you looked at the reference skin tone, it was right in the corner of the white, and it was all white. And here too, you can, I didn't realize that I didn't color the hand all the way in until I actually uploaded to my phone where I fixed it. So even this was after I finished recording, so after I uploaded it to my phone, I looked at it, and the hand was totally messed. It was totally it didn't look right at all because there was these white splotches on the hand. You can see it here more clearly. I can't see it on my I can't see it on my monitor because my monitor is kind of weird like that. Here's me working on the symbol. I think it looks okay. If I try to detail it, it would have messed that up too. But yeah, so I fixed that after I finished the recording. So I just went back and recorded maybe like a minute or two of me fixing up everything, and then I forgot to add the watermark. Oh, and here's this where the eye got covered by that little strand of hair, and I wanted to add the pupil because some people get mad at me for not adding the pupil. So yeah, there you go, adding the pupil. I was gonna I don't know, I was going to add more detail to the hair, but every time I did that it would look really odd, and it wouldn't have like a correct tone to it. I would add too much detail sometimes, and compared to the rest of the body it wouldn't have looked well. I think I should have added the highlight. I don't know, that might have been a good idea, highlights to the hair. Though right now this is the final product, you're about to see it. Well, after this cuts out, you're gonna see the other part too. There's me working on the background. The background wasn't that hard. I usually know what I want to do with the background. It kind of reminds me of the Smash Bros encounter thing. Here's where I messed up. I tried to fix up the buttons. Well, the coloring especially. Here it is. It's all. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any suggestions for drawings or topics I should go upon about, or just anything in general, just a suggestion, please comment in the comment section below what I should do in my next video. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you guys later. Tomorrow probably, because I'm actually working on our video. Goodbye.